Hey everybody, how are you doing? This is Sister Morgan, I guess you can see that. I wanted to share a couple of things with you since we've been home and we haven't been able to go to church and see each other. I thought it would be fun to do a couple of crafts with you. So I've got 4 different crafts that all remind me of springtime. And since we're right in the middle of spring and it's getting ready to be Easter, I thought it would be fun to celebrate the new life that we see during the springtime and all the beautiful things that are growing outside and things that are alive and that we can see. Some of these things we can see just as we walk outside and look in our yards or around the area that we live in. I took some pictures this morning of some things as I was walking, of some things that were pretty to me and that were blooming and that were a sign of new life. And I'll share those pictures with you in just a few minutes when we get ready to do one of our crafts. The first thing that we're going to make is a paper plate flower. And we'll start with, if you have a small dessert plate, that would be best. But I didn't have any small dessert plates, so we're going to cut our plate down to this size. So first, we're going to take just a regular paper plate, and I'm going to cut out the center. I cut out the center of the plate, so we have a flower. This is what's going to be our flower. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to cut little slits all the way around the flower, and that's what's going to make the petals. And we'll curl it up a little bit so it'll look like it's more like a flower. So I'm going to just cut about an inch or inch and a half. You can see about like that. And I'm just going to go all the way around. Okay, and so the next thing we're ready to paint. And I'm going to paint the inner circle. I'm going to paint it pink, but you could use crayons or markers, whatever you have at home. And that's the other thing I wanted to say about these crafts. Hopefully this is stuff that you already have at home and you won't have to go to the store since we're stuck at home and we really can't go to the store. You can improvise with some of the things you have at home. You could easily do this with construction paper or white paper, and you could color it or use markers. So I have some paints, and it's just some craft paints that I had in the closet, and I made just a little palette of the colors that I've been using, and so I have those available. And I like pink, so I'm going to do my center of my circle pink. All right, I've painted the center of my flower pink, and I didn't give you a list of supplies, so I'm going to do that now. But I have scissors and paper plates, and I have some different colored construction paper. Some of the things that we're going to make, we'll need, if you want to make them just the same way I do, you'll need green and black and brown. And let's see, I have glue, and I have my paints, and I have a cup of water to rinse my paintbrush, and a paper towel, my paintbrush, and I've got some paper on the table so I won't get paint on, and I also have on my apron so I won't get paint on my clothes. I also had in the closet, because I used them for another craft, is some googly eyes. I have a bag of googly eyes. So a couple of the things that we're going to make, I'm going to put eyes on them. Probably not everybody has googly eyes at home, so you can use a marker and make eyes just that look almost exactly like a googly eye. It was just something I had bought for another craft, so I know everybody doesn't have those at home. So our next step is going to be to paint the yellow part. So I'm going to paint around the petals with yellow, and you can use like a marker or your crayon. All right, I painted around the pink, yellow, And after that dries, then we'll curl the petals up a little bit so they look a little bit three-dimensional. The next step is going to be to make the stem and the leaves. You can do that out of construction paper or white paper, and you can color it green. I have some craft foam, a big huge piece of craft foam, and I'm going to cut the stem out of that, and then the leaves I cut out of construction paper, and then we'll glue those on. All right, I cut the leaves and I have my stem, so I'm going to glue that. I'm going to put a dot of glue on the top of the stem. Since my paint is not quite dry, I'm not going to turn it over just yet, because it'll get all over, it'll probably stick to the table. So I'm going to lay the flower on top of the stem, kind of push that down a little bit. It's still a little wet, so I have my little rag to wipe my hands with. And then I'm going to put the leaves on, and I'm going to attach those to the back of the stem. So I'm going to put glue on the front side of the leaves, just a little dab of glue at the bottom, and I'm going to attach them to the bottom of the stem. And you'll need to set this somewhere so it can dry. I don't want to pick it up because it's wanting to come apart. But when we get done, it'll look like this. See how these leaves are attached to the back of the stem? Can you see that? And this is attached on the back. But that's what yours will look like whenever you get done. And you just curl the little petals up so it looks like the shape of a flower. And it'll probably take about 10 minutes for it to dry, maybe a little longer. It depends on what kind of glue that you have. So I hope all you girls, Taylin and Julia and Lizzie and Laura Lee, and who else do we have? Hazel and Scarlett. I know I'm forgetting somebody, and hopefully I'll remember your names before we get done with all of our projects. But this is project number 1, and I'm going to do a separate video for each one. So our next video will be the grasshopper.